welcome to MandoBug Crafts, episode 44. I'm MandoBug, but you can call me Amanda if you want. What's up? How you doing? Hey, new viewers, I would like to welcome you and thank you for checking out the show for the first time today. I hope you enjoy it, and returning viewers, it's great to have you back as always. I'm feeling a little bit more energetic today. I'm recording on a work night, which I don't usually do, but I thought I'd give it a try, and we'll see how this goes. But anyway, starting out with something I've learned. So I would like to talk about cross stitch. So this is something I learned a little while ago from Lindsay. She actually shared this tip with me. I didn't know about it, and maybe you don't either. If you're a prolific cross stitcher, you probably already know. But if not, here's something that I'm doing now that I didn't used to do. So before, when I was cross stitching, how I would start a new piece of thread is I would put a knot in it. Yeah, I probably just hurt a bunch of your guys' ears when I said that. Yes, I knotted it. And I just started like that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It can be done. But you do risk, if the knot's not big enough, it pulling through the hole, depending on the size of the fabric that you're working with. And also, it can be lumpy on the back of your fabric. So an alternative, there's an alternative way. And I'll make a short video of how I do that, because it'll be easier to show you than to explain, and I'll insert it here. Okay, so I have just a fabric, just some plain Aida right here. And I'm not sure what the count is, but it doesn't matter. Just on a hoop. I don't normally stitch on hoops, but again, this is just for example. So if I was gonna start stitching and there's nothing on the fabric yet, what I learned was, so say, I don't know how well you can see, but say I was gonna start stitching just a row of X's right here. So what I would do is, wherever the row ends, I would insert my needle from the top there. Somewhere that's going to be out of the way, but it's going to be in line with the rest of my stitches. And so then I'd go to where the stitches are going to start. Let's say here. And then I'd start doing my stitches. And I don't want this piece to come all the way through. That's fine right there. So then I'd start stitching, and with cross stitch, what I've noticed is it doesn't really matter which direction you stitch in, as long as you always finish the same direction. So me, I prefer to cross stitch from left to right, so top to bottom, and then I go back from right to left and top to bottom. So so I'd be following my pattern, of course, and say this one in particular wants me to do 5 in a row. So I'll get through my 5. Okay. Just to give you an example. So now I've got my, I've got my 5 half stitches. Now if you see on the back, look at that, I sewed right over the top of that thread. So now it's secure. And I can just pull it out and I can just snip it. So you get like the opposite effect of weaving in your end. You stitched over it. And so that's how I start my projects. And then say for some reason I ran out of thread, so I'm running short. So to end my thread, I usually run back through stitches I've already stitched. Trying to make sure you guys can see this. So I run back through some stitches to secure my end, and then I snip that. So now this is secure, these aren't going anywhere. And then if I was to start stitching again, I could choose to do what I've already done, what I already showed you, which is pick a spot that's in line with where my stitches are going to be, go somewhere out of the way, come back, and then work over the top of it like I did. Or if there's already stitches here, I can choose to start by threading through pre-made stitches. So now I'm threading through them. And I want a little bit of a tail so I don't actually accidentally pull them all through. But then I can just continue stitching. I can continue stitching wherever I want. And the tail is going to be secure. Sorry, it's hard to see what you guys can see. So I just continue stitching, and my end is secure because I already wove it in. So that's what I'm talking about. So moving on to works in progress. Well, I'll start with this one. My printer's not working, so I couldn't print out my show notes, and I didn't feel like writing them up, so I'm kind of going free form here. Hopefully I remember the order of my show and don't forget anything. But this is a shawl I've been knitting called Princess and the Pea by Lily Goat, and I'm in the middle of a row, so I'll show you just a little bit. It's a repeating pattern, and it's really gorgeous. It's got a leaf motif of sorts in it. So I think I actually I don't want to lose my needles. I hate to drop stitches in this pattern. But I put a marker where I was last time I recorded. Woo! Don't fall, needle. Okay, the yellow guy right there. So that's what row I was on last time I recorded, and so I've made quite a bit of progress, especially for how many stitches are on the needle. And it's exciting because I've hit the halfway point. Well, over halfway point, because I'm on my last skein. Here's my first one. So I'm on the last one, and it said after this row you'll be at 53% complete. So, woohoo! Halfway there! And I'm only going to have less and less stitches on the needles, so that's awesome. I just decreased a whole bunch a round or two ago, and I'm continuing to do a bunch of decreases, so I'm excited. I should be down to 300 stitches in the next 5 or 6 rows, and so I think the pattern's really going to fly by then. So I'm really excited about this, and it should be done this fall, hopefully. So yeah, I'm knitting this on, let's see, size 4s? Yes, size 4, which is 3.5 millimeters. And it's Dream in Color Smushy with Cashmere in the Humdrum colorway. Also, I started Patch. Patch by Susan Claudino. Oh my goodness, the cutest little pumpkin-headed creature ever. I have arms and leggies. Arms and leggies. So, arms, whoops. Arms, and come on, legs. Legs are not cooperating. Their tails are trying to stay attached. Arms and leggies. So my I-cord is wonky. It's not the best. I don't know if all I-cord is knit the same, but I did it where you just you use a DPN and you just slide back and forth on the DPN. So it kind of leaves, when you go from the one end to the next, at least when I do it, I guess I don't pull it tight enough, and it leaves kind of like a chunky stitch. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a chunky, uneven stitch compared to the rest of them. So, whatever. I'm sure there was a more efficient and more, I don't know. There was probably a better way to do it. But I just did it the back and forth way on the DPNs, and so they're not perfect spirals, but whatever. But this is so cute. These little leaf hands and feet. and they were really easy to do. The instructions were awesome. Now I just need to cast on the body and go from the body to the head and sew it all together. I stopped because I wanted to look up how to do the jogless seam on the stripes, and then also how to like the correct way to like twist my colors when I change colors and stripes so that the stuffed toy doesn't have holes in it. So I stopped because I didn't want to look that up at that moment. I moved on to something else. But Patch is in way. I'm not trying to hypnotize you guys. And then I also, okay, well, oh yeah, spinning. See, this is what happens when I don't have show notes. I started spinning some more domestic wool Rolags. If you look up close in these, this is a blend of like a turquoise fiber that I dyed with some bits of orange. Just some hints. So I wanted to spin it worsted weight and chain, or well, worsted weight single, or no. I wanted to spin it so that after it was chain plied, I got a worsted weight single. Or no. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean. I wanted to spin it so that after it was chain plied, I had a worsted weight yarn. And it's a little thick. It is. It's a little too thick. It's not thick enough to be bulky, I don't think, but it's too thick to be worsted weight. It's gonna be like a heavy oh, Aran. There we go. It'll probably be more Aran weight. But yeah, these are my little 2-ounce bobbins that come with my Ashford Traveler, so I don't fit much on there. I only have these 2 more Rolags to go, so that works out fine. And I've spun another skein of yarn that was similar to this. I blended some Rolags with turquoise and orange, but they had more orange in them. By the time I got to these Rolags, I didn't have a lot of orange left, so it just has the hints. But I should be able to use the 2 together. So, moving on to finished objects. I have one, but I'm going to share that later. So, moving on to check it out. I'm pretty sure that's what comes next, right? I'm looking around like something's going to tell me, but it's not. Sure, check it out. So I went to Michael's. Well, I went to all the craft stores actually looking for a light for my cross stitch, because my husband, when he watches TV, there's a light in our living room and it glares on the TV, and it's really annoying at night. And so I thought that it would be nice of me to get a personal light for my cross stitch or other crafts, so that that glaring light doesn't have to be on while he's trying to watch TV, or so that I don't have to go to another room. So while I was looking for this light, I was in Michael's, and they have a big rack of books in the back, or at least my Michael's does. And I was skimming through them, and I found this book, so I wanted to share it with you guys because it's absolutely cute, especially because I'm having a girl. This book does seem to be a little more focused on girly things, but it's Heirloom Baby Knits by, I can't read it backwards, but you can read it, published by Leisure Arts. And this book has the cutest clothes in it. I'm not going to do a review on it or anything. I just wanted to share it. But I did start a sweater out of the book, and there are multiple sweaters that I would like to knit in here. Let me show you some of the cute ones that I'm interested in. I think this is a really cute one. And this book tends to start with newborn size, but it only goes up to about 2 years. So it's really only for babies, not quite into toddler. This is one of my favorite. It's like a poncho. Isn't that adorable? And of course they have the cutest little baby models in here too. Of course the one on the cover with the hearts, and then this one is the one I've actually started. Of course. what's it called? Pumpkin pie. Can't help myself. But look at how cute. I'm sorry about the glare. I'm trying to tilt it so that there's not a glare. But this sweater is super cute. And because it's pumpkin pie, I couldn't knit this sweater in any other color but orange. And so this sweater, I don't know if I'm going to keep it for Emily. Depends, because I'd like to give it to my friend's baby for her first birthday. So I'm knitting it in the 12-month-old size. But if I don't make it in time for the birthday party, which is not this weekend but next weekend, I don't want to freak out and be really stressed about it. So I figured if I finish it before the birthday party, it will be hers. If I don't, then I'm going to keep it for myself. See, that's a fair way to get around my, like, claustrophobia is not the right word, but it's more of like an anxiety thing when I have knitting deadlines. I can't handle it. I start getting stressed out, and when something stresses me out, I hide it and don't touch it. I'm sure there are more people like me out there that understand what I'm talking about. So because this might be a gift, I chose acrylic. So I chose Baby Bee, Sweet Delight, in apricot jam. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Of course, it's very, very pumpkin-y orange, like the sample knit in the book. And here's my progress so far. Start at the bottom, and it's going to need to be blocked, which acrylic doesn't block very well, but I think I can, if I need to, I'll do that, what do you call it when you, like, steam press acrylic and it kind of melts it? I mean, that's really what happens. I would only do that to the bottom edge to get it to lay flat. I've done it with some Afghan squares before, and it makes the drape real interesting, but it's not, it takes the fluff away. So I wouldn't want to do it to the whole garment, just this bottom edge that curls up. And that's after I block it. If it doesn't block, that's what I'll do. And then there's kind of like a lace pattern that goes on, and I've started that. The construction seems really nice. It's knit flat, and then you get up to the armholes, you knit the front and the back, and then put the armholes on, because it is a button up. So I will get to do a button band. I've never done a button band before, so that'll be interesting, but I get to shop for cute buttons, so that's exciting. I feel like it's looking a little big, so I was worried, but the bottom, it's kind of tapered as you knit it, so the bottom is a little more ruffly. It's meant to be worn as like a tunic or a shirt, so it does flare out, so I'm not too concerned. I've checked my gauge twice, and it's a little large for gauge, which is fine, because I am knitting the 12-month-old size for a 12-month-old baby, so I do want it to be a little bigger. But yeah, I'm enjoying knitting on that, and if you need to knit for any baby girls, you should check out this book. I don't know if any of the patterns are available separately, but I felt personally that this book was worth it because there were plenty of patterns that I do want to knit in here. So yeah, let's check it out. So moving on to current events. So I have been stitching on the Cloudsfactory Halloween sampler, the Whacky Witches and Stitches, and it's slow going, as cross stitch is, but here's my progress. So I have started stitching to the bottom. So like I said, I've mentioned before, maybe I can back up so you can see the piece in its entirety. Oh, there we go. I was worried about margins on this because I heard that some people had some issues, but I did. I cleared this side with just enough of a margin that it could be framed, no problem. So now I just need to clear the bottom, which I don't think is going to be an issue. So I'm stitching, oh wait, this is the short side. That's the side I just cleared, which still, there's enough that it shouldn't be much of an issue. Then I'm stitching along to the bottom. Should clear that just fine. Find out tonight probably as I work on it. But I'm very much enjoying this pattern. another clue came out on Monday, and so I think there's only 1 or 2 clues left, and they come out weekly. So I think the last clue comes out in like 2 weeks, and I want to get close to catching up if I don't catch up completely, so I'm probably going to be primarily working on this project. And the sweater to hopefully get it done by the birthday. But I've been stitching it on this Q-snap frame, which I really enjoy, so I know some people don't like it, but I like how it rolls the fabric on there, and I don't get the big hoopy circles because I leave my project in this usually. I've been having to move it around so much because this project is so big, but I haven't found that leaving the project in here causes any issues because it kind of just rolls around the edge, where with the hoop, if you leave your project in the hoop, you kind of get these almost permanent circles that are hard to remove. So I know I know it's recommended that you take it out of its frame every night, but I'm not so good about that, so I stick to my Q-snap, and I haven't had any issues with it yet. And then this is the light I was talking about. It's a nice little clip-on light. I think I paid $10 for it, and it fits right on my Q-snap, and I can angle it, and it's LED, so that's really nice. I know some people who need lights use the magnifying glass light, and I thought about it, but I was kind of looking through it, and my eyes were having issues. So I don't know if I necessarily need the magnifier yet, so I just went with the light. But having the light has made stitching on linen easier. Something about it being fully lit makes it easier for me to see the smaller holes. So I've actually been using the light even during the day, just to kind of give it that extra illumination. So that's going well. And then also for current events, the Craft with Your Hand Spun Along is going on, and that's where my finished object is. So I took some of my hand spun and I knit a baby cardigan, the baby Vertebrae cardigan. And here it is. Look at how little and cute. It's so cute. So I'm really, really happy with the way that this turned out. This is the spinning that I did from 2 bats from Fibers by Brenda, the wooden spinner, I think. I'll link to her shop on my show notes. And I absolutely love the way it came out. It's this tweedy orange, and it's very sparkly. I don't know how well you can catch the glitter in it, but I really enjoyed the way it worked up. For some reason, I'd never knit this pattern before. I had issues with the armpits. Mine kind of they were a little holy, but I just took one of my ends and I sewed the armpit hole up, so it's not super bad. But if I didn't sew it up, it would have been really bad. So you can kind of see a little bit here. And then I realized when I knit this this ribbing portion, when you pick up stitches, which I haven't really done that a bunch, you get this, well, I don't know if you can see it, you get this ridge, and you can choose to have it on the inside or the outside. So see, that's more of a seamless connection, and there's more of a ridge on this side. So I should have picked the stitches up in the other direction so that the seamless pickup was on the outside and not the inside. But it doesn't look that bad, I don't think. It kind of makes the edging stand out more, especially around the neck, right here. So I actually kind of like that. So, or you can see on the inside, it's more of a seamless transition. So, whoops. You know, I did it, and I didn't realize till I was done that that ridge was on the outside, and I was like, I thought I was picking them up right. And then I really thought about it. I was like, oh, if I picked them up the other direction, then that ridge would have been on the inside. Whoops. But overall, I'm very happy. Oh, and that's the other thing. If and when I knit this pattern again, I'm going to make sure I pick up the same number of stitches on both sides, because I don't know if you can tell, but this side kind of pulls a little bit because it doesn't have as many stitches picked up. But, I mean, it's a slight difference, not super noticeable. But yeah, I knit this in the 0 to 3 month size with size 5 and size 6 needles with my light worsted hand spun. So Emily has her first cardigan, her first hand knit, her first hand spun hand knit. So lucky girl. I don't even have that. I mean, I do have my first hand spun hand knit, but I've never knit myself a cardigan, especially not hand spun. So yeah, I'm very happy with that object. And then I also cast on this yarn. I have 2 skeins because they're 2-ounce skeins. This was my Knitting in Color Falkland in the Sleepy Hollow colorway that I fractal spun. And it's definitely a fingering weight. And I cast on this 2x2 hat. I think it's just called a 2x2 ribbed hat. I'll put it to the bottom. And I literally just cast on. And then I realized this isn't going to work. This is not going to work. So the size that was recommended is, I think, a 1 or a 1 and is there 1.5? Yeah, I think there's one. It's either 1 or 1.5, and I only had DPNs in that size. So I cast on with these DPNs, and they're not working out for me. It's very uncomfortable, and they're really cheap, and I need to just buy some sock needles. So I need to order those soon so that I can work on this, because I think this is going to be really cute, and it's from my husband. So speaking of the craft with your hand spun along, some of you have posted finished objects in the thread already, and they're absolutely gorgeous. If you finish more than one object, please feel free to share it in the chatter thread too, so that we can continue to ooh and ah, because I really do enjoy seeing you guys work with your hand spun. So I think last but not least is upcoming events, and don't really have anything for that. This is my delicious strawberry tea, by the way. It's not juice, it's just some tea. In my Washington State Fair mug that I got when I went back to Washington. We went to the fair, which used to be called the Puyallup Fair, and it was really weird to go there and have it be called the Washington State Fair, but then they still say do the Puyallup, which is, I don't know, whatever. But a little piece of home. But anyways, upcoming events. Yeah, I don't have any events, but I am really excited for some future acquisitions because I kind of went crazy. I usually try to stay within my budget pretty well, which is not very large, you know. And I wouldn't say I've gone out of budget. I mean, kind of. More than I should spend, but it's not that I can't spend it. So I found out that I have a weakness for anything and all things Nightmare Before Christmas, and it just so happens that there are more than one sellers doing that. So Penguin Soup, I was hoping to record about this before it happened, but now that it's too late, I feel kind of bad sharing it with you guys because the sign-ups are closed. But Penguin Soup does a yarn club, like a 3-month-long yarn club that's themed, and I went ahead and signed up for her October, November, December club, which is Nightmare Before Christmas themed, and I'm super excited for that. Of course, it comes with goodies. I think overall you end up with 3 skeins of yarn and a project bag and some stitch markers and some other small things. And it's all inspired, all the colors are going to be inspired by the Nightmare Before Christmas. So I was like, if I'm going to join any yarn club, this is the one that I'm going to join. So I went ahead and jumped in that. And then also, just yesterday, I was catching up on some podcasts, and I was watching the Loops podcast, and they announced that they were doing a bunch of Nightmare Before Christmas kits in collaboration. Oh man. with a designer, I think. It's lost my mind. It's lost my mind. I've lost my mind. I don't remember. But I ended up picking up 2 kits. Each kit was themed off of a different inspiration from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So I ended up pre-ordering a Sally kit, which is a variegated, well, a surprise. I mean, there's a picture of Sally on it, but it said in the description that it would be a variegated DK weight yarn that would come with a sock pattern and I think a bag and some other goodies. And so I snagged one of those, and then I couldn't help myself and I snagged another one. I wanted to snag them all, so I feel like I did good in only choosing 2. But it was really hard. The other one I chose was, it was inspired by the Pumpkin King and Zero, who, of course, are primarily white, black, and orange. So, I mean, I had to. And this is a speckled worsted weight yarn that comes with a hat pattern and a bag and some goodies. But, those were the 2 that I had to choose. I knew I had to have the Pumpkin King and Zero one for sure. I wish I had pictures. When I was, Night Before Christmas was one of my favorite movies growing up, and I actually remember when I was in like 1st or 2nd grade, around Christmas, we were told to bring in our favorite Christmas movie, and I brought in The Nightmare Before Christmas, and they said that's not a Christmas movie, and they wouldn't play it, and nobody else brought in Christmas movies, so we ended up watching Snow White, and I remember being really mad about it. But, I love that movie so much, and I've been collecting things ever since. And when I was in high school, I actually painted murals on my bedroom wall of different things from the movie. Like I had painted a Jack and Sally on top of the spiral hill, and I had a little dog, like the little grave tombstone doghouse that Zero has with him flying out of it. And I had Lock, Shock, and Barrel holding open the giant bag that they capture Sandy Claus with, and if I find any of those pictures, I'll insert them, probably at the end of the episode, but I don't know if I have any. But, yeah, that was way off topic. I'm sorry, guys, but I was really excited about all the Nightmare Before Christmas things, so, I think the first thing that I should be getting are the kits from O-Loops, because they're shipped out the last week of October, so I should get them in November, and I'll probably get my first yarn from the Penguin Soup Yarn Club in November. I know it ships in October, but that's coming from Canada, so it takes a while to get here. But yeah, I'm super excited for those. Other than that, I hope you guys made something awesome during this episode, and I will see you next week. Bye!